Welcome to our YodlePop webinar, How to Leverage Content for Membership Growth and Retention. Just a couple of things to start off with. The webinar is being recorded, so it will be available for viewing afterwards. We'll send a follow-up meeting or a follow-up email on that. Also, we're going to do a couple of quick polls during the webinar, and so we'd like you to go ahead and answer those polls in the chat. Also, at the end of the webinar, we're going to do a Q&A session. So anything that pops into your head during the webinar, you can feel free to go ahead and put that in the Q&A section of the comment section. We'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Corey Albrecht. I'm an account manager with YodlePop. I've been here for about 2 years, but I've been in communications for just over 15 years. And experience in servicing B2B, healthcare, hospitality, nonprofit associations, and medical societies. So I have some background in membership servicing. So to start off with real quick here, also I wanted to say that YodlePop co-founders Jackie Lally and Camille Weiner are also on the call and will be available at the end for our Q&A session. So to start off with, this is our quick poll. Our first poll is, what kind of organization are you from? Just go ahead and put that in the chat session. Just a quick now that you've gotten to know me, I'd like to get to know you a little bit too. So I'll just give you a few seconds to put that in there. Assuming that you're from some sort of membership organization or nonprofit, but just good to know who we're talking to. Thank you. I can see those coming through. Looks like we do have a couple of associations online and a couple of others. All right, great. So to start off with, just wanted to give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about. Just a quick agenda review. We're going to start off with what is content marketing and why it's important to your success, but then also kind of an overview of some of the objections you might encounter when trying to embark upon a content marketing strategy. And then we'll get into how to get started with some member journey and content mapping, and then where to, start with what you have. So what is content marketing? Your members, your leads, your audience they want valuable content from your organization, and that content needs to reach them in a way that feels natural and organic versus like intrusive or interruptive. The content marketing will help you do this by attracting and engaging and delighting your target audience members. So content marketing is the process of planning, creating, distributing, sharing, and publishing content with the goal of to reaching your target audience and increasing brand awareness and sales engagement. So by honing in on an effective content marketing strategy, you can do just that. And as a result, you'll increase conversions, improve brand awareness, and boost membership retention and non-dues revenue, while also establishing yourself and your organization as an industry leader. So here are just a few examples of some common content marketing assets, and we'll go over these a little bit more in depth later on in the webinar, but just wanted to share some of these. We got blogs and ebooks, videos, webinars, white papers, case studies, infographics, and of course, there's always more. So why is content marketing important? Advanced tools for data collection and analytics is giving associations new ways to recruit, retain, and engage with their members. Content marketing helps us educate our members and prospects about the products and services that we provide. It boosts conversions. It builds relationships between your members and your organization that results in increased loyalty, shows your audience how your products and member services solve their challenges, and creates a sense of community with your brand. So valuable content builds relationships that built on trust, and that trust will drive revenue. So you want to attract and retain members, and you need to understand that your organization's relevant value and deliver that for the right price. While this isn't breaking, it's not groundbreaking news, the approach some organizations are taking to create and deliver value is indeed new. So it begins with understanding the different reasons that different members join and continue to stay. Content marketing is enough to make anybody's head spin, but there's so much to consider. Things like, what sort of content should you create? What channel should you be on? The choices are infinite. And especially if you have people who are questioning whether you should even be doing content marketing to begin with. Here's just a quick list of some of the common objections that people might have to content marketing. We'll go into them in a little bit more depth here and talk about how we can overcome those objections. So on this one, what will we write about and who cares is a big one. And you have to remind people that it's not about them. It's about addressing the pain points of your audience base. It's about making sure that you're providing those questions and those solutions. So you need to shift that focus away from talking about solutions and focusing on the questions and the problems that your audience might have and how you can answer those questions. So you got to write about what you know. Just like you might meet up with somebody at a conference or a convention and talk about that one-on-one with an industry peer. Those are the ways that you start those kind of conversations. The second one is we don't have time for this. Time is what many association marketers and staff members just don't have enough of. But content marketing is an opportunity to turn all of that knowledge that all of your organization has into building some momentum towards providing that authority and influence. So what could be more important than that, right? So your members and your internal experts are some of the best sources for content. So show how you can work across the organization and across teams to start creating that content that resonates with members and prospective members. This is a big one. So what is the value? What's the ROI? And how are we going to measure this? Like, how do we know it's really working? So while this seems like something new, the ingredients of content marketing have been around. And so there's definitely some analytics that have been established for measuring this sort of thing. But content marketing is about building relationships. It's sort of more of a long-term game. So you want to make sure that you make them understand that obtaining that top of mind awareness isn't going to happen overnight. A great place to start is with your leadership and establishing those clear goals. And then from there, you can establish benchmarks and some SMART goals for your marketing. You can also share some existing Google Analytics to show them where you are, and then maybe show some examples of some reports that other people in your industry have done, so that you can explain how you're going to measure this in both quantitative and qualitative ways. Another great thing to let them know is that content marketing typically costs 63% less than outbound traditional outbound marketing. Also, content marketing generates 3 times more contacts than outbound marketing. So those are both really great ways to overcome objections. So your largest relevant audience are professionals within the industry that you serve. So you should have content that is relevant to each stage of their member or career journey. So content marketing and inbound marketing are intertwined. They go together. Content is central to inbound marketing, to the inbound marketing methodology, and that puts humans first and focuses on attracting the right visitors and then cultivating those relationships that we talked about earlier through meaningful content. So as a follow-up to this session, just so you know, you'll be getting a copy of this deck. We would also encourage you to check out some of our resources that are on our website, especially our our complete primer to inbound marketing that will help you get a little bit more background about the inbound marketing methodology. So organizations that align their success with their members not only scale, but create delight and loyalty and love from the people who matter most, which is the people at the center of the flywheel. So that's those supporters, donors, and members. So to grow and retain your membership, your organization needs to deliver a remarkable experience to those members. Excuse me. The flywheel puts that target audience, those supporters and members and donors at the center of the process. And with the flywheel, you use the momentum of those happy members or supporters to create momentum. And that drives referrals and recruitment and retention. So basically then your flywheel keeps and your organization keeps spinning. Here's an example of some content marketing activities that can happen at each one of those stages. And you can see that we have those strangers. Those are the people who don't know about you yet. And through attraction, through the attract stage, we turn them into prospects. And then from there, we turn them into, we engage them and hopefully then turn them into members and supporters and promoters from attract, engage, and delight. So for example, in the attract phase, you might attract visitors with useful content and eliminate barriers that as they try to learn about your organization. So the key is to earn people's attention and then not force it. So in the engage phase, that's where you make it easy for them to engage with you, to join by focusing on relationships and not just closing deals. And then finally, in the delight phase, you help support and empower your members through a friction-free experience, help them achieve their goals because their success is your success. So the happier they are, the more likely they are to advocate on your behalf and provide testimonials and referrals and bring their friends with them and tell them how great you are. So the idea is that old Walt Disney quote is, "You do what you do so well that they want to see it again and again, and they want to bring their friends." So the foundation, as I said, of inbound marketing centers around creating that content that speaks to your audience at the different stages of their journey. So a member journey map will help, is a visual representation of a process that the member goes through or the prospect goes through to achieve that goal with your organization. So with the help of a content map or a journey map, the prospect, we can identify their motivations and identify the types of content that will help them through that journey. So here's a journey map or a content map that starts off with the buyer. And so one of the things that, and there's a link on the next slide that we have is you have to identify your personas. And so we have a template that helps you identify your personas and their pain points. So content marketing is about getting that right content in front of your audience at the right time. So helping to identify where they are in that process will help you identify the types of content that you need to help them along that journey. So you need to plan that content that is relative or relevant to each stage of their member or career journey, whichever persona that you're building that content for. So here we have a content map that's filled out for a professional association. Their largest audience is made up of professionals in their industry, and they need that content, like I said, that is relevant to that portion or that stage of the buyer journey. So the idea here is to create easily digestible content that targets the professionals who are doing educational research about their career, their profession, or they're seeking solutions to certain pain points. So the first stage of this process, like I said, is creating those personas so that you can fill in those pain points along the way and then find that content. So check out our personas, our supporters, our nonprofit supporters, persona template on our website for that. Here's a quick list of some of the common types of online content. And again, we have another resource here that helps you identify some of that, and it's our ultimate guide to nonprofit content marketing. That goes into a little bit more depth on all the different types of content. But so the next thing is, how do you get started? So our suggestion is that you start with what you have. It can seem overwhelming to try to put together a content marketing strategy. But if you start by repurposing content that you already have, you're that much closer to getting it done. So there are many ways that you can take existing assets and repurpose them into content marketing. Great places to start is just taking an inventory of everything that you have. You could have member brochures, you might have annual reports, every single piece of literature that you have for your organization. Take an inventory of that and take a look at what the most popular ones are, and those are a great place to start. So repurposing content is reusing your existing content and presenting it in a new format. So essentially, since you've already created content, valuable content for your organization, you know that your audience will like to see that, and it'll help you expand your reach on that material. So here's a quick look at some idea of a list of traditional content that you might already have, some things that you have that you didn't even realize could be content. And here's, oops, sorry about that, a list of the things that you could repurpose those into. So you likely have a journal, an annual conference, some of those other things that you can then turn into blogs or pillar pages or video content or social media content. So for more information about marketing collateral, we also have a free marketing collateral checklist. That's a good place to help you build that inventory and see where you want to go with that. So like I said, content marketing doesn't mean that you have to create something brand new every week. You can easily take one piece of content and repurpose that across channels. This example here is for a conference session. So you can take that conference session and you can turn it into a webinar. You can turn it into explainer videos and promote those on social media or put them in a blog. You can take bite-sized videos and put those on social media. You can also create blog posts and pillar pages off of just that one conference session. And some people might say, well, geez, I'm telling them the same thing over and over again. But the idea here is that, you know, that rule of 7, where the prospect needs to see your content 7 times before they make a decision and take action. So now it's time for our second quick poll. What project does your organization spend the most resources on? So if you could put that in the chat, that would be great. This is something that will help you find where to get your content from. So what project does your organization spend the most resources on? Just give you a couple seconds to fill that out. Great. Thank you. Yeah, if you think of anything else, go ahead and fill that in there. We definitely do see that annual events are a big place where a lot of resources are spent. And if you think about those annual meetings, they definitely are a great source of content, especially if you're recording those sessions. But either way, they're a great place to start. When repurposing content, it's important to use the ACE method. Take the original piece of content and then just make sure that you take time to consider what needs to be added or removed or reworded to adjust that content for whatever platform that you're putting it on. Also, you may want to take smaller bits of smaller pieces of content and combine them so that they're providing more value? Or is there an opportunity to take a smaller piece of content and expand upon it and dig deeper into that topic? So, right, so you don't have to create content day in and day out. You just have to work on getting that content into more people's hands. Here's an example that's a very good example of where we took a membership page, it was just a simple join page, and turned that into a longer form pillar page that addresses more of the specifics of the benefits of membership of this organization. So we moved from that simple join form page to an authoritative pillar page that not only provides more value to the prospect, it also is an opportunity to give them a conversion, to get them to download that information for consideration. And it's also a great SEO opportunity. So you're getting search engine authority as well. So you want to keep in mind as you're building a page like this, the value and what keeps the members most engaged over time as they continue to go along that membership journey. And in this case, we have the learn, which is professional development. That's one of the top things that keeps members engaged, connecting, the networking, and also receiving information, industry updates, and other kinds of information about your industry. A good thing to keep in mind when creating new content is how else might this content be consumed. So if I have a long form list of things that might be valuable, can I make a checklist out of that? And then from that checklist, can each one of those bullet points be a separate blog? There's many ways to consider presenting one piece of content. Here's a list of 8 ways to repurpose content, and this list is covered in depth in a new blog on our website. So check that blog out to learn about how to repurpose existing content. So, as with anything, the best way to get started and achieve your goals is take one step at a time. Great. We'd like to right now encourage you to go ahead and put any questions in the Q&A, and we'll be happy to address any questions that you might have. Camille and Jackie, if either of you could help out with
hello.
I'm here too.
Yeah.
I do have some questions that people have submitted. Do you want to get started with those?
Sure. One real quick thing I forgot to mention, I think I skipped over a slide here. Feel free to reach out to us to schedule a free consultation. We're happy to talk to anyone, and would encourage you to go ahead and click on the link to or go to our website and get a free request a free consultation. Sorry about that. Thank you. Yes, let's go ahead and get started with the questions.
Great. So we did have some questions submitted ahead of time, and one of them is, how do we deal with people at our association who are concerned about, quote unquote, giving away the store? So those people who are objecting about giving content away when that's part of the value of joining as a member. So my answer to that, and you guys can join in, I know we all have experience we can share, is that a good answer to that is that take them back to the rule of 7 first of all, that different pieces of the information that the association, the valuable content that the association has in its private warehouse, you don't have to give away all of it. What you need to do is use some of those content mapping tools to take little pieces of that and share it as perhaps social media content, blog content. And then in exchange for the longer pieces, for the long form content, or as those bits of information get bigger and bigger and more of exclusive value, then you're actually getting something from the prospect or the contact. You're getting their contact information so that you can communicate with them and build a relationship, encourage them to join when they're ready. So it's really, I think, for people who are raising that objection, it's important to acknowledge that they have the association's best interests at heart. They want to provide value behind membership, but looking at what other associations and the competition is doing, you're going to find that they are releasing those smaller bits of information earlier in the buyer's journey, and that's helping them grow. Any other any of my other team members want to add to that at all?
Sure, I'll add to that. I'll just kind of piggyback on what you said and talk about kind of contemporary consumer behavior and what we know now about, the buying process. Just think about all of the freemium type of apps and things that you see out there. There's the whole kit and caboodle that you can say purchase an app for $30 a year or what have you. But before you purchase that app, you want to try it out. And so there are certain free features that you can use, sometimes ongoing, sometimes just for a short period of time. But that's really, really common these days, is to share and offer educational, informational, useful content that helps address the pains and challenges of buyers these days, to get them engaged with your product or service or membership or what have you. So if you think across different types of products and services that we have in our society today, you can kind of see that paradigm working well. I also wanted to. Sorry,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you want to add to that, because I was going to jump to another question that came in.
Okay, so real quick, the other thing that's really important to understand is that even though it seems like it feels like it's giving it all away, the members also like that friction-free opportunity to get that information. So it is all about balancing that experience for both the prospects and the members. So a member might like the fact that they can really quickly access something that is top of mind, or that quick question that they have about something on your website. So it is a fine balance, but definitely you want to be providing value at any opportunity you can.
Great, yeah.
And Corey, what you just said, that's a really, really good point, that there is the technology to easily control what people need to give you in order to get your content. So for example, a member would not need to give you anything going to get that information. They wouldn't be required to fill out a form with email address, answer a persona question, give first and last name. We know that people are willing to fill out up to 7 fields generally to get valuable information. Well, the member doesn't need to do any of that, and so that does add value for them in the experience too.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Great. A question that came in a little bit more of a broad question about inbound marketing that I wanted to just address here quickly. The question is, can an inbound strategy be combined with traditional direct mail prospecting in any way? Question mark. That is prospecting to a rented list incompatible with inbound? I want to just kind of be a little bit blunt here and say absolutely incompatible, and we do not recommend rented lists at all. We are in an age of permission-based attract. If you think about the flywheel that Corey presented earlier, the stages are attract, engage, and delight. So we don't want to promote and be so sales heavy when it comes to or to invade inboxes without permission. So we never rent or buy lists, but we have we've seen not doing that and growing lists organically from the right personas, attracting the most ideal personas, it works a lot better because you're actually creating those relationships based on ideal criteria rather than just buying lists of folks that you really don't know if they, if they're a good fit for your organization. So that's one reason, is just that it's more effective to attract and gather in the way that we're talking about, by offering and adding value out there with educational quality content and exchanging that value for your prospects' information that is given freely with their permission. Hope that helps answer that question.
I'm going to piggyback on that a little bit, just because there's some differences there between direct mail, meaning paper mail, and email, and the laws and rules and regulations around it. I mean, yeah, you could go out and rent a list of people to send a piece of paper mail to, and be within the law and everything, and definitely since the pandemic, there has been a big increase in that, but that doesn't mean that's the only way to do direct mail. And we've seen some really exciting results with people treating paper mail with the same care and kind of qualification process that they use for their email, and even tying those into a workflow, the same workflow, using so that people are getting paper mail based on actions that you see in the CRM. So I think there's been a return to more paper mail, but a new awareness and a new set of technology tools to make it more effective than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I think there's another question in our pre-submitted list. Is there a technology that can enable, oh, this is a good one based on what we were just talking about, is there technology that can enable us to deliver content so that it doesn't take too much staff time for our association? So technology recommendations to deliver content so that it doesn't take too much staff time. I can start the answer to that and you guys can jump in. 2 words, marketing automation. So you definitely want to be using, to be able to carry out some of the great ideas that Corey shared, you definitely need to be using a piece of marketing automation software. HubSpot is the state of the art, and I think the features that you find there are going to be kind of what everybody's trying to do. So marketing automation software combines the content marketing technology that you need. So SEO, topic clusters. It's pretty much the only tool we're aware of that gives you the ability to do topic clusters right in there with your SEO research, and plan your blogs and tie it all together and see how it fits together to respond optimally to search algorithms. And then it's combines all of that content SEO good stuff with marketing email automation. So drip campaigns, workflows, and one-time emails, along with social media planning, your entire website, doing your entire website. That's kind of a rare thing that I think, depending on the marketing, I'm trying to highlight the marketing automation features that you're going to find in pretty much any marketing automation software. The website CMS piece of things HubSpot integrates, but most don't. Really, I'm sure there are lots of marketing automation features that I'm leaving out, but basically the answer is you really need marketing automation software.
Mm-hmm. Just piggybacking on top of that, just knowing that a lot of organizations have disparate, and I think maybe you already said this, but you have your constant contact and you have your Hootsuite and you have all these different pieces, and they don't really all play well together, and that ends up taking more time than you would if you just had that one, like a HubSpot or another piece of marketing automation like that, where you can bring them all into one.
Exactly. Great. Next question. Do you find that associations and membership organizations have the skill set internally to do this kind of content marketing?
Well, for me, I mean, many times, yes, they have some of the skill set there. It's often just a matter of just prioritizing and time. There's not enough time or people in general to be able to do it all at once. I'm not sure if you have more to add to that, Camille or Jackie.
Well, let's talk about the skills that are required to do content
Okay.
marketing. What are they? You
Yeah,
know,
I'll
there's,
jump in and
go
I'll
ahead.
talk a little bit about that just to jump in here too. Yeah, I mean, and that kind of just piggybacks on what Corey said. It's not that there isn't the maybe skill level, intelligence, obviously knowledge about the organization, you know, passion for the mission, et cetera, and within the organization. And yet it takes a lot to put together even just one piece of content. And though very worth it, it's good to plan ahead for that. You know, there's, for example, coming up with the topics in the first place. That can sometimes be a team effort. Doing the search engine optimization around those topics, you know, matching them up with your ideal personas, you know, drawing up that content map. All of those, I would say, can sometimes be a team effort to kind of get aligned with what those topics are. So there's the planning, there's the strategy piece of it, and then there's the drafting of content that also can involve more than one person, not just a writer, but subject matter expert, marketing specialists to kind of chip in there and make sure that we're writing content that is going to be engaging and fit within the search engine optimization. And then we have a lot of sometimes production work. You know, we want to make sure that we are using imagery with our content to make it, again, more engaging. You know, there are a lot of statistics out there about what people are looking at the most of, you know, starting with video. Imagery is always great. Infographics to accompany your content. There's editing, there's proofreading, there's getting that content up on your live website and making sure that that experience is working. And then there is, you know, publishing that content out to the various channels, social media, you know, whether it be social media, you know, YouTube, other aspects of, you know, your marketing strategy where you can carry that content around to get the most reach and engagement. So there are definitely a lot of steps, not to scare anyone away, but it's just important. It can be done. It's just important to understand the capacity so that once you get that momentum going with a topic, you can execute on that and really carry it out as a team.
Excellent. Yeah, and I totally agree with you. And I think a lot of organizations find is that if you look at, okay, let's just think about FTEs, how many people are on your staff and how much time is required. You know, there are a lot of cases where, yeah, that bandwidth could be found, but not all in the same person. So I think that's the struggle that we see organizations have. We don't have one person who is a web developer, a designer, and an editor, and writer, and content strategist, and social media expert. You know, it takes, I think, a lot of the energy goes into taking the pieces that different staff are doing, training them to do them, and bringing it all together under the strategy and the plan. So like when you're able to get help from the outside, it makes it, I think in practical terms, a lot of times makes it possible where it was not possible before to have a fully executed content marketing strategy for the organization. And the ROI is right there too.